there even a right way or a wrong way to deal with shadows? I'm not entirely sure. Did I just say that? Did I just use some linear words? Is there a beneficial way or a non-beneficial way? Ooh, did you feel the difference in that? Is there a beneficial way or a non-beneficial way to reintegrating or handling shadows? Maybe. Um, Once I do a little bit more introspection about it, and have a better idea of what it is that's the best approach to addressing a shadow. I know I've learned some techniques about, sitting with the emotion and whatnot, but with something like this where you're dealing with, I guess, childhood trauma that I don't really remember the emotional status that I was in because I pretty much blacked out. I was pretty much in a not even a vulnerable state, but more or less a shell, a cocoon. I mean, I did, well, no, not a cocoon, because that would imply that I was unconscious. Well, actually, we are talking about unconsciousness, aren't we? Yeah, because I was primarily unconscious going through that whole experience. Um, I can remember it clearly in mind, but I don't remember how I was feeling. That's what I want to say. I don't remember how I was feeling. Because I just associate some type of fear with it because I was young. I was a child. And, the nature of my father's demeanor was, he wanted everything to be unpleasant. Because from the time he walked out the door, it was on. Fun, games, everybody in a pleasant mood. Mommy would play games with us. We'd have music playing. It was like a celebration when this man left the house. We'd turn the radio up real loud. Yeah, Daddy's gone. And then when he would come home, everybody'd be scrambling like roaches. We'd scramble literally like roaches, hurrying up, trying to clean stuff up, trying to make sure, we only ate what my mother cooked for us, because this motherfucker would literally count fucking cookies. He would go in the kitchen and count fucking Twinkies. He would go in the kitchen and count slices of bread. He would weigh the juice container. I think he did actually have a scale that was hidden. That's how he could always tell when I had just a little squig of fucking juice. It's like, how does he know? He must have had a scale hidden somewhere, and he would weigh that bitch. Without a doubt, you always knew if you had just a small drop of juice, this fucker would know. I think maybe he wanted to be a little bit more accurate with it, because at one point it seemed like he stopped buying containers and started buying individual juice boxes and stuff like that, so that's all he could do was just count it. So I think it probably got too much for him to go fish out his scale to set his drink on and weigh it to make sure none of us thirsty kids who normally drink juice anyway didn't drink any of his fucking juice. He's not my only shadow. I had mommy shadows too, because I felt some sense of abandonment from my mother as well, because even though she was there during the whole time in that same experience, she was dealing with her own issues with dealing with this psychic disease of my father's. And a lot of times she just didn't want to be bothered, so even though even though she was there, and a lot of times just, she was just like the rest of us. When he came home, we'd all scatter because we didn't want to be bothered with him. We even want to see his face. It's a horrible way to live growing up, and I wanted to make sure that I didn't carry on that same type of dynamic in my house. And all the fighting that we had, literally physical fights, where my parents would hit each other. Even, me and my sister would always join in. It was just like a whole family fight. We're passing licks and stuff, and it's just, I didn't want that type of dynamic in my own house. So even as an adult, that was one of the primary rules that I would share with people that came into my life, whether they were a man or a woman. I don't allow fighting in my house. I mean, we can argue, you can have your space, we can disagree and whatnot, but as far as passing licks and all that other shit, I kind of stay away from that, because it's not. If you have ever noticed, when you do fight physically, the thing that I've noticed is that at the moment that you're fighting, of course you got a whole lot of adrenaline going through your body, but then after, like the next day, you got all kinds of aches and pains, as if you kicked your own ass. Because I've only had maybe like a couple of fights with my sister, and it always seemed to be that same way. After I finished fighting with her, it almost seemed like I kicked my own ass. Now at the time that was happening, I didn't realize that. It wasn't until after I got grown, when I had an understanding of, oneness from a certain perspective. Then that started making sense. But, even as a child, I noticed I always would get hurt after the fact and not realize it, should I say, until after the fact. But that's one of the reasons why I didn't want any fighting in my house as an adult. And then as I started becoming more aware of myself and learning myself, that's when I decided, or should I say, came to the understanding that when you fight, you're just kicking your own ass. So why do it? Don't believe me? Next time you get in a fight, survey your body the next day and see if you don't have some aches and pains somewhere. It may not be a whole lot, it may be a little, but you're going to have an ache or pain somewhere in your hand, your foot, something got hurt, depending on how bad you kick this other person's ass. But you'll have some aches and pains somewhere, because they'll get a lick in or two, because, if you think about it from the objective perspective, you're only kicking your own ass, which doesn't really make much sense to me, seeing how I like to use my intelligence. I don't see the point in kicking my own ass. I'm not going to do that. It's bad enough I was doing that emotionally, completely unaware. But physically, no, I'm not going to kick my own ass physically. If you see me doing it, put me in a straitjacket. But anyway, this is just some additional thoughts that I wanted to get out. I'm going to go work on my music video now. That always brings me pleasure to do some editing my music videos, because I'm a natural born cinematographer. It's almost like a fetish, kind of, in a different kind of way. Yeah. But anyway, ciao.